the beauty of it, these artists were mentored in a way by listening and watching these masters at work. So, you know, when you think about the late Gene Page, it was the very tapestry of the Barry White sound, you know, master string arranger. Yeah. And you go back to the masters of Memphis, right? Yeah. And then what was going on in Chicago at the same time. So everybody's at one time, our black brothers and sisters were so impacting that they controlled the charts for weeks at the top. Wow. That was during the early 70s. Yeah. And literally, Roberta Flack and so they controlled the charts. Jeez. Yeah. So these brothers was actually creating extra income for the industry, both domestically in the US and internationally in various different music markets.
Affinity Extra, be extra.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and do not necessarily represent the views of Affinity Extra.
Yeah, people. This is your boy here, Roger Moore here, and Affinity Extra, celebrating gospel music block origin. This is how we do it here. Now, today's show, you know, we got so many things to do, so many other people to speak about. We got James Brown, we've got, you know, I mean, we even got the bad, the good and the bad. You know, but I'm afraid people like even R. Kelly have been a great success in the music world, and they've been a very poor success off the field, and that's so sad to say, man. But you know, reality shows, we got the good and the bad, but the reality shows, we have some fantastic music models out there, hence why we're going back into history and pulling out this information so we can understand. Because if you look to America, they have got places of black music that you can go to and understand the history of it, so they got something to build off and be inspired by. So that's what we want to do. We want to inspire people out there still here today. I'm alongside the gospel music, the black music historian himself, Kevin Tomlin, and we're about to go into Memphis. Now, Memphis, what I know about Memphis is the original place where Lecrae and Reach Records came out of. And then when I was doing a gig with Lecrae over a decade ago now, and he was saying to me how the city is majority black, but the minority white technically control it. So it's in a deep south area, where I can imagine it would have been a lot of tension when it coming towards some of the issues when it came to race and so on, and that still, yeah. So we're talking about a times now that's coming up where, bear in mind, you got the Crow laws, them, and all the different things that's going on, the aftermath of that, the mindset against black people, no matter how much we supported the country, USA, and even as black people when it came to England, no matter how much you supported them in war, they seem to forget that and then treat us badly because of our colour. So yes, I said that, but listen, we are going to go into the sounds of the Memphis and seeing what else we got out there. And I heard of a guy who we always hear about is Al Green. Yeah, and we're gonna open up Al Green and his buddies and see what they were up to in the I believe it's in the 60s.
It started in the late 60s. Al Green.
Late 60s. Okay.
Al Green was signed to the I record in the late 60s, but he didn't actually come into his full creative impact until the early 70s, when Willie Mitchell found his voice.
Okay, Willie Mitchell. Okay, so you're gonna get this thing on. Anyway, so why would people know Al Green, bro? Why would I know Al Green?
Well, you would know Al Green because of you know him in two parts: the gospel production hit runs, as well as the soul hit runs.
So he's been involved in gospel.
Yes, he did. He received 11 Grammy Awards, you know. And several of them had to do with his gospel production.
Okay.
Matter of fact, his first gospel gospel album came out in the early 80s. It was on Word Record, and it sold about 250,000 copies in the US.
Yeah, it's got Pastor Reverend. It's got here also known as Reverend Al Green.
That's right. He had his own church. This is quite a formidable brother.
Go on. Break it up for us. Break it.
Break it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get some background on this Al Green guy.
Okay. First of all, at the time that Al Green was signed to iRecords, you had Stax Records down the road.
Yeah.
Stax Records and iRecord was the two major, what you call, quote-unquote, black labels. They were black-owned in the end, both of them, but they were labels that feature black talent, recording artists, with white engineers and so on involved. Now, the difference between Stax Record and iRecord is that Willie Mitchell, a black record producer, songwriter, notice, sound engineer, producer,
and songwriter,
label owner, record label owner, trained musician, was also doing the engineering and mixing for Al Green hits. He did all that. He wore all those hats.
Crazy. Willie Mitchell.
On top of that, the original owners of iRecord put it in their will for Willie Mitchell to control, became the chief operative of the label because they became good friends. He's a white brother who put it in his will. So this is an interesting thing. What's interesting about Memphis, it was like an oasis for the blacks and white. When they're having the racial confusion outside, when they're inside the studio, they work as brothers. You think about it, the Memphis Horn section co-founder was white and black, right in the deep south.
This is the craziest. This is open, to what's going on.
Total contradiction.
1966.
That's the same thing me and Juliet was saying yesterday. It's quite fascinating that all the hit runs that came out of Philly, Chicago, Memphis, West Coast and East Coast, white brothers and sisters were involved. Into this. The reason why they were involved, first of all, they made money, but not only that, they loved the music. So that dismissed the idea of whether I'm black or white. When they're in the studio, they treat themselves as peers on the same level. So and with the music industry in those different areas, they were head of the church in terms of racial integration.
Okay,
They couldn't be bothered. You know what I mean? Steve Proper regarded Otis Redding as his friend.
Right.
Bottom line, he doesn't care what your opinion is or what you think. Late Otis Redding is my friend.
Wow.
Right. So the same thing with the co-owners of the Memphis Horn. They were tight. Their wives are tight with each other.
Okay.
It didn't matter. Their children love each other. It's a common.
Yeah.
You think about it. Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones came to Memphis during the 21st century to record his album with Willie Mitchell and his son.
Boy, sir.
Oh, so I'm just jumping all over the place, but I'm just giving you a flavour.
How you contextualize? No, you contextualize. You're contextualizing. So what we're gonna kick off with, bro? Which one do we start with? Do we start to go into Al Green, or do you want to really go into?
Let's go into Al Green.
Al Green. Let's go into Al Green because we can do a whole one on Willie Mitchell and his son still. So
yes.
So go on. Let's look into Al Green because he's born 55. He's not 55. He's born 46. And
yes, that's correct.
And he's been musically active for a long time. He looks like his early successes was doing some soul stuff back in the day. When he became a gospel singer, when he returned to do some secular stuff on top of that. And then this is where he was at, man. So man, put some context to this, bro. How this work?
First of all, Al Green is the first singer or recording artist, full stop, to have a succession of 8 gold albums, not so gold albums so much, but 8 gold singles almost in succession.
Okay. 8.
And that wasn't, and even Elton John and Barry White and all those other recording entities, Barry Manilow and all of them, didn't match that.
See, 8 singles.
8, and remember the 8 gold singles are 1 million copies each. 1 million copies each. Coming out of the studio.
Wow.
Which is known as the Willie Mitchell studio.
Wow.
During the 70s.
Wow.
The first gold single was I'm Tired of Being Alone. I am so tired of being alone. That was first number 1, bro. That was the first gold single.
Jeez.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, and this one, I'm Tired of Being Alone. On top of that, I'm Tired of Being Alone, it was the final record, or the first record that actually defined the vocal texture and delivery of Al Green, right? Because different between Al Green and the artist that came out of Stax is that he had a softer voice. It was soft. And with Al Green, the musicians he was working with, they didn't do arrangements. They worked from notes, so they were trained.
Okay.
That's the difference. That's the difference between them and Stax. Which in the early days were doing arrangements. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, you had people from the Memphis Symphony Orchestra that came to do the sweetening on the records.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So it's okay. So Al Green sound like, because obviously I've heard of Al Green, but a lot about Al Green, but he sound like quite a successful soul artist, man.
He was extraordinarily successful because in America alone, with recent statistics and the Record Industry Association of America, he sold over 6 million copies in albums, which includes multi-platinum, platinum, and about approximately maybe 8 gold albums. I don't know. And when you put the singles on top of that, it runs up to between 25 to 30 million copies on the iRecord production.
Wow.
That is in the US alone, not to mention the millions. Oh, matter of fact, let's give you an idea about in the UK. His first certification was his greatest hits in 1976.
Okay, 76, that's when I was born.
That was silver certified compilation album.
Okay.
Did over 60,000 copies. Now, this is where it gets interesting.
Yep.
He's one of the few artists, black artists, that even when he stopped his hit run, he was still making major certifications even in the 21st century. Let's Stay Together, the single, sold as recently as 2020, 600,000 copies, bro. Platinum certification.
Jeez.
That is in the UK alone. And on top of that, if we fast forward, and 2021, Tired of Being Alone was certified as a silver certified, which did over 200,000 copies.
Jeez.
That's in the UK. And his tracks, his classical hit tracks, have been featured in several movie soundtracks, both in the UK and in the US.
Oh.
Dead President, which was produced by some black brothers during the 90s. Right?
Yeah.
A gold album.
Yeah.
Featured 2 of Al Green tracks plus Aaron Melvin and Isaac Hayes and so on. So in actual fact, they were beginning to use these classical tracks with, Tyler Perry and so forth in many different,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is what people need to understand here.
Go on.
Once you do a masterpiece from the beginning, brother, you can have ching ching for a long time.
Wow, this is get it right properly.
Get it right from the beginning, and you'll be all right, full stop forever. Get it right in the beginning. And these guys, because remember with Willie Mitchell, he's been involved in the music industry from the early 60s and late 50s.
Yeah.
He's worked with Elvis Presley, former bass player. So he knows, and he was a touring artist, and he's been in the industry for a while. He was looking for that brother. That he can actually build to become a mega star. And he did it with Al Green. He met Al Green as a club date, and it took 2 years to develop and back and forth. But they eventually got the formula for his voice, and the rest is history.
This is it. It's sometimes, I think that, looking at the application of looking at someone like Al Green, like you said, it's important to get it right before you put it out there. And I think sometimes, you have to experiment with your sound, with your vocal sound, because it has here that he was kind of influenced by Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson, and James Brown. So you could easily be an imitation artist, which is a lot when you're young. When you're young, you can very easily sound like somebody else. But when you start to develop your own sound, that's the time when the world can meet you and you start to have your own definition. So it's clear that Al Green's kind of developed that he developed his own vocal sound, the unique sound, which people could say Al Green and have him in a slot rather than a James Brown wannabe or a Sam Cooke wannabe. He may have been influenced by them, but it's key that we don't sound just, we're doing our best to imitate them and do what they would do in that situation. But so that it sounds cool, but it's got here, bro. There's an interesting part, which is quite interesting actually. Where he the transition between secular and gospel. As gospel people, we like to see gospel artists, obviously talented gospel artists, but I would believe that people would be convicted too. And he seemed to have a conviction when he fell over or injured himself on doing a performance, and he took that as God kicking him back into church. Into him, and he started doing gospel albums now. So and and he produced 6 albums within the gospel side. Would you say did he become a kind of Kurt Franklin artist at that period? Was he like the number one gospel act around about then, or one of the top 5, or what? Or was it just somebody who was?
He was on Power with Andrew Crouch with them actually.
Wow!
He won several Grammy Awards actually
for his gospel albums.
Yeah, for his gospel outputs. Yeah, and they were very much most of them were very much Southern soul influence, similar to what Candice Staton did. Because they were all producing around the same era, Yeah. So they had that Southern gospel sound.
Yeah.
But with some sophistication, of course.
Yeah.
And Al Green actually worked with some of the brothers who worked with him on his I record production. The 3 brothers who were part of the I rhythm section, which was in itself a very formidable rhythm section as well. On Power with Stax, with Booker T and the MGs and other studio, like the A-Team in Nashville, they were at that same level as well.
Okay.
In terms of musicianship and ability.
Okay.
Okay, let's put it this way.
Go on.
Let's put it this way. These brothers, they made the music multiculturally impacting, timeless, generationally impacting. Right? They created a matter of fact, I think about two of Al Green's album today is over 50 years old.
Okay.
So in actual fact, they just as the late Curtis Mayfield celebrates its 50th year with Superfly.
Yeah.
So the same thing with Al Green with his studio albums.
Okay. Wow.
Now, in actual fact, there was a pivotal moment within R&B where these albums create a new trend, especially during the Watergate years in particular.
Okay.
Yeah, so they were quite phenomenal because at the time, our black brothers and sisters begin to, get their feet wet into production. Because remember, you have Barry White coming on soon.
Yeah.
And then Marvin Gaye with "Let's Get It On" and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So there was serious landmark albums that just.
But without the Al Greens, without the Sam Cooks, without these artists, it's like it's building up towards a pinnacle of
and
influence.
Michael Jackson hits the end of the 70s with Off the Wall. I mean, woof. After he learned all of his skills from watching these brothers perform and listening to them.
So it's like all part of a build up towards mega black artists, which wasn't seen before, wasn't imagined.
Yes, you see that the beauty of it. These artists were mentored in a way by listening and watching these masters at work. So when you think about the late Gene Page, it was the very tapestry of the Barry White sound, master string arranger. Yeah. And you go back to the masters of Memphis, right? Yeah. And then what was going on in Chicago at the same time. So everybody's at one time, our black brothers and sisters were so impacting that they controlled the charts for weeks at the top.
Wow.
That was during the early 70s. Yeah. And literally, Roberta Flack and so they controlled the charts.
Jeez.
So these brothers was actually creating extra income for the industry, both domestically in the US and internationally in various different music markets.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm saying. You have to and this is where I think that we've been disrespectful with this show, with the people that we're standing on the shoulders of when it comes to black music. You know what I'm saying? We utilize their music when they use the music to try and make a difference culturally. Yes, they were the ones who were coming out with some dodgy stuff, but culturally and obviously they did things about relationships and love and so on. But the thing is, what hurts me the most, Kevin, right now is looking at black music now and the pure folly that's coming out of it right now. It seems like we're puppets of sin, puppets of just crime and drugs, and that's all we put out there through our music. Like these people killed off themselves, broke the systems, and to put out things that are just clickbait for gangsters, and show some more respect to what people have done before you got here. That's where I'm at with these guys, bro, because looking at Al Green, obviously Al Green to go back to church shows you that he always had a spiritual inkling to go to church. He's always been convicted from it. Him just going through the accident and going, boy, I better head back to church, and produce a number of albums. And I've got it here as well. He did a musical with, is it Patti LaBelle, which was a musical that's biblically influenced, and that's quite interesting, and it really shows it's part of the Broadway theatre situation, and it's called Your Arms Too Short to Box with God. You know what I mean? So it's like,
and Teddy Pendergast did that again.
Teddy Pendergast was involved there.
Yes,
okay.
Teddy Pendergast was involved in the later one, which was successful. He did duets with Patti LaBelle. not Patti LaBelle so much, but Stephanie Mills.
Okay. So for me, it's like these guys have done amazing pieces of work, bro. Amazing support, amazing things for our community, amazing things for inspiration for us today. And yet, our music, what does it inspire? What does it bring forth for the future? You know what I mean? It's just right about now. I'm watching some of the stuff there, bro. And the context, the content, the this and that is absolutely disgusting. So for me now, it's important when we do this and bring out artists like Al Green. And listen, guys, I don't business if you press Al Green into your title, yeah? Because as Kevin's talking, I'm doing my little research, so I'm jumping into my title right now, and let me jump into on my online thing. Let me just jump into Al Green. Let me jump into Al Green, see what comes up. Let's see if there's enough tunes. Obviously, it comes up straight away. Al Green, the artist. Let's see what he's got there. And there's enough albums out there to keep you happy. Oh my goodness sake, yeah, there's plenty of albums here to keep you nice and happy. Some old. Oh my goodness sake, he's done some production.
He's very prolific, you know.
Yeah, got some old school stuff he's got there, and yeah, man. You've got a Backup Train. You've got Al Green is Blues.
Yeah, let's stay together.
You know what I'm saying? Gets next to you. Let's stay together. Yeah. I'm still in love with you.
Oh yes, keep talking.
Yeah, man. And you know what I'm saying? And you got Call Me, living for you. You've got, you know what I mean? And he got all these albums full of fire. Have a good time.
Yeah, this track, Here I Am, Baby.
You know what I'm saying? And he's got out.
Funky, there's a funky.
Touch and Time. You know what I mean? Truth and Time, sorry. Higher Plane, you know what I mean? And you've got Precious Lord, and you got his gospel stuff. Rise Again, Trusting God, Soul Survivor. Jeez. Yes. You got Love Is Reality. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Lucky, Lay It Down. He come with some new stuff. On Fire Live, and he just keeps.
Lay Me Down was the one that went to pop album 200 at number 4. You know.
Jeez.
At number 4, it was the highest. It was the highest position album in it since its 70s.
Good. Lay It Down. Jeez. Yeah.
At some point, he would have 2 number 1s in 1 year during the 70s. You know?
Goodness sake.
He was prolific. Because remember, he's a brilliant songwriter with Willie Mitchell and Al Jackson, you know.
Yeah, he's got a few singles on here as well, like Shalala.
One of his last gold album before he departed from iRecords. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got the album, so I'm still proud of that.
Yeah. Just looking at all these, there's enough music, guys, just to absorb and whatever. But 100%, guys. You know, Al Green, 100%. You know, he's a legend. Like I said, guys, I've 100% heard about Al Green before this conversation. But it's important to, like I said, we need to contextualize the struggles that there are. But the key thing that me and Kevin's always been bumping into is music has been an area where it's been a cross-pollination of people. I've got into the studios and what they've been produced to produce not only black music but also white music. When I say white music, I say music which are performed by white people. But effectively, we have to realize that this belt of music, this sound of music, this time of music has influenced the likes of Beatles and a lot of the rock sounds that you see in the UK. And I think that's really what really knocks off a lot of probably people who are in knowledge of what black music has done for the industry, is that when you come to the UK, it's almost we apologize for being in a space, and
that creative space.
And we should not be apologizing. We should be coming over here, and they should be sitting down and trying to learn from us and go, how, you know what I mean? It's in your blood to be absolutely be best in the world for creativity. Carry on showing us, and we'll do our best to support you. You know what I'm saying? But what they've done is do weaker versions of ourselves and do it themselves. Yeah, because it looks better. You know what I mean? And we need to.
By the way, this is interesting. That 2 white sister and a white brother were the background vocals for Al Green's classics. They were the background vocalists.
Wow.
One white brother who is classically trained and a serious brass trumpet player, just serious brother. And one of them was his wife, I think might be still married, but two white sisters and white man were the vocal background singers for Al Green Classics.
Wow.
You heard me, bro.
Wow. And this is what I'm saying to you, bro. There's
mixing. It's a revolutionary sound.
But this is what I'm saying. We were mixing from years ago, but they're going like, say, we just did our own path, and it's only where people are in there. It's absolutely, it's really for me something that we need to really expand on and really look at. You know, what I mean, the mixing of cultures to produce a great to produce a great sound. But what I don't like is that basically that one culture is taking their income away from us, in this country specifically, and we're still marginalized, not getting enough money. That's what hurts me the most.
Yeah, when you think about that, Willie Mitchell was for many decades one of the key creative power brokers of Memphis sound, Memphis music community. You have hit-making artists from the UK and so on that come to his studio to actually record in there.
I think artists like Wet, I think I've seen.
Yes, there's several. Matter of fact, he had at one point he had his own another record label called it's WAYLO. Waylo. Right?
Okay.
Waylo Records, which had a R&B number 3 hit. Right? They had an R&B number 3 hit. A lady by the name of Joyce Cobbs.
Okay.
Lady, it was in the UK R&B charts at number 3. Another Lonely Night Without You, 1987. It was in the R&B charts in the UK for 12 weeks.
My goodness sake! And
produced by our brother, the late Willie Mitchell. So he's constantly
in the mix.
In the
mix, bro. In the mix, and
constantly in the mix. And by the way, okay, let's look at these guys again. Powerful lyrical content, transforming and impacting content. Right? You play them today; they're just as relevant today as they were yesterday.
Yesterday, correct? Yeah.
Okay, they're innovative. They express a standard of excellence.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And they had a creative, powerful unit, a musical synergy that is timeless. And when you think about it, people such as Tina Turner had hits with these brothers from these brothers' catalog.
Wow. Guys, and this is just a startup because we're going to the next episode. We're going to go into we heard Mitchell sets and a bit like a bit like Babyface and LA Reid. You almost have a Babyface and LA Reid prelude with Al Green and Willie Mitchell. The kind of in the same kind of dynamics. So you know what I mean. So we see that we can't do. There's always like a stage man and a non-stage man in the background doing all the work anyway. Still in different contexts anyway. Still So it's good to have the right people around you. 100%, man. But listen. We're gonna close off today because we're going to give room for the next couple parts as well. We're gonna be going into that still. So guys, please watch out for these parts. We can start with Al Green, the Memphis sound. You know what I'm saying? And how you come to cities that we don't even know in the UK. Like we just know New York, we know LA, we know Houston, Texas, we know Chicago, we know Detroit, we know Miami, Florida, Memphis, Memphis. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
just to say this quickly before we go, by the end of the 60s, Memphis was generating $30 million in gross earnings from the music industry. By the end of the 60s.
Old man Birmingham doing that.
I'm telling you, that's another issue,
crazy.
Bro. Hey, whoa, it's possible.
Bro.
It's possible.
Listen, 100% possible, 1000%, man. But listen, bro. Listen, nothing but love, bro. We'll close off your session today, guys, and we'll be back in the next few weeks, bringing back the Memphis sound and going in with we're doing Al Green today. Do look into that yourself. And again, this is just a teaser. This is not here to teach you every single thing. Go in there, do the research, and also we're gonna be looking into the likes of Willie Mitchell, and I believe his son as well, and some other people out there from the Memphis sound.
Bo Mitchell.
So let's find out what's going on.
By the way, the information is written in this book where it talks about the whole production in my book.
Check out the link, guys. Icons of Memphis, man. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking, I'm sure Kevin's done Memphis. Yeah, he's done Memphis, man. You know, he's done
right
Memphis.
On, bro. So it's right here.
So he knows the stuff, by the way. He knows the stuff. He's had to study it. But listen, God, nothing but love, Kevin, yeah? And we'll check you up in a bit, my brother, yeah? All right, then, man, yeah?
Okay,
bless
peace
you.
and love, bro.
Bless you, man.
Fantastic. Good.
Hey, this is your Bishop. This is your Bishop from Rock Solid. Thank you so much for watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much for clicking and subscribing, and also sending these videos to other people as well. We are so hungry to get your support. So remember, check us out on our website, and also check us out on Insta, and wherever you want to find us on Spotify. You can play us all day as well. And just make sure that you are supporting this channel, that we are developing our agenda towards music of black origin, and that is gospel music with a message. So please walk with us on this journey. Bye now.